process by the administration to approve that, and there's appeals that they can go through to get that approved for their business permit. If I'm them, I look at this and I say, I asked for the case scenario, considering they've been put through already. I will lot rezone. My recommendation is that we approve with a recommendation for approval for the city and move forward.
I think go the special use permit and go down that route because that's what's in front of us. Or one of our options is the best alternative if you look at that entire area. So I would disagree with you on that, Commissioner. I think that we can allow a special use permit or recommend that in the future and have that go forward for 2 years with the option of renewal, with everything presented in front of us. I would also like the text to be reviewed in the future, not to allow used cars, but to take out some of the issues that we pointed at, a used car in this area, but not this area, have some consistency there. But I don't think that is whether we either rezone or we go in the direction of the special use permit. I'm in favor of the special use permit myself.
And that's my opinion as well. I'm still for the special use permit.
I am concerned of the $120 that they spent. That's something the city administration worked with the applicant on, if that were their only option at that time. So that would be something that we would allow administratively or suggest administratively for, to be reviewed as well.
I think that should be a resounding
I agree.
statement that is to staff and city administration that to take into consideration and certainly apply any fees, any future fees for if there are fees for government administration. They have to take a look at that one closely. Then,
Are there any other?
hopeful that they can come up with a solution on that.
Are there any other comments? Does staff have enough information to bring us forward, hopefully a final solution at our next meeting, or at least on our behalf, and something to recommend to City Council?
I'm curious on one point that I think was brought up at our last meeting, on the history of the lot. This part, were at any,
One of the things that was mentioned during the public hearing.
because I believe it was mentioned that it was not, I don't know if it was under the current ownership or not. Does anybody know?
I can address it.
Sure.
Beforehand, there were car sales there. The city came in and said, you have to get a permit. So they went to here today. So the city approached us and totally recommended to be done. At the time, we're parking their cars up there.
It's a private sales then.
Yeah. You know, like a business up here that has a trailer on top, sitting in their parking lot.
I think that's an enforcement issue that is probably underway.
Yeah, but it was the same thing.
That's actually prohibited in the...
Yeah, it was the same basically, and they told us what we did, went through all the channels that was told for us to do, and went so forth there.
All right, I was just under the impression that there had been, in years past, there had been sales.
Where it was there for like a short period of time.
And it was...
That's what I thought.
Because of zoning, and
Yeah, that's what I thought.
it had to be removed at that point, and I thought that was years ago, but
And I don't think that affects this before us tonight.
No,
Yeah.
certainly not, and if it was under different...
So, you know, previous ownership, but the city did come down to the lot and inspect. So when we say 4 uses, if whoever inspected couldn't count, it shouldn't come up today because they inspected it. They knew what it was going to be. If not, why did they come down there? You know, I think Amy, who was still on staff, actually came down and inspected the lot. The state came down and inspected. There's an awful lot of people to get a mistake.
I think the next steps would be between the our next meeting. Is that correct? Or?
Yeah, let me, if I might, get some just to clarify what you're directing us to do. What I'm hearing is the majority of the commission is suggesting that in terms of the process, that a special union, the applicant can decide they don't want to do that and in a zone application. In either case, we would schedule a public hearing the next possible meeting time, which is in June. Either it's a recommendation, go to the city council. If it was a text amendment, it would go back to the council for a work session, and then the city council would provide us with direction. It's a much more protracted process. The other thing I'm hearing, the commission says that the application fee that was paid should be applied to this use. And
That
I
would be an
think-
administrative decision.
and I think we need to certain what we can do there, but we can certainly, personally, it's something we would get consideration, because I understand concern about the cost.
And just in order, in our minutes, it did say that we tabled it to this meeting. Do we need to continue that? Or do we need to, I know that we do not want to take action tonight, but it is in the minutes that it was continued to this meeting specific.
We can table it to the next meeting.
So we can table it to the next meeting.
I would say that's the safest route to take, is just to say that you're tabling it to the next.
And then they withdraw and submit a special use permit, or if they go forward, we're for a meeting, once you guys have discussions.
Yeah, I think in either case, we would publish a notice,
Do you need an application for a special use permit?
yes.
It would be no different than any other.
So that has to be, an application has to be made, ad doesn't have to be made.
Because there's a deadline for getting the notice published was passed. Of course, this week, it was Friday last week. So it would have to be heard, if it's a special use permit application, it would have heard, and possibly it's a rezone application, it would have to be heard at the July meeting. That's not going to be a penalty to the applicant.
July.
We can, yes. No action will be taken against you guys
Part of the
after.
problem is we have a family engagement tree in July. If possible, can we extend it out a little bit? We went back, we're leaving end of June for